What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to bring you my predictions for all the awards for the 2023 NFL season. So let's get into it. This should be a fun video. I'm gonna give you my personal intake on all these, my personal insight on all these, and how I'm gonna be voting. It'll be a little interesting. Mine aren't always the same as other people's. I have my own way of thinking. So this could be, a little different than what you've been seeing from other people's videos. So let's get into it. Let's start with the first one. Let's start with the main one first. Excuse me. That's the MVP. We're gonna start from most likely, I guess, the highly anticipated one to the least. I guess the head coach will probably be last. So let's get into it. MVP first. I have Aaron Rodgers. I have Aaron Rodgers winning it, and for me personally, all awards for all, well, not all awards, but most of the main awards for all the major sports, baseball, basketball, football, are mainly off of vibes, are mainly off of narrative. And it's all storytelling. And the story told here in my mind, if the Jets can win 10 or 11 games, make the playoffs, and Rodgers plays better than he did last year and not just along for the ride, I think it has to be his. It has to be. And especially the Jets' schedule, at least the first half of it, is insane. The Jet, if you haven't seen the Jet schedule, go check it out. They got some hitters and killers the first 5 or 6, 7 games, all back to back for the most part. So they have some tough games, a super tough schedule, and if they can survive all that, finish with a winning record, finish with like I said, a 9, 10, 11 win season, get into the playoffs. I truly think Aaron Rodgers beats anyone just off a narrative. The numbers might not be the greatest, but off a narrative, I think that Rodgers can definitely win it. Now, the biggest competition I have for him is Pat Mahomes. Been the best player in the world, at least the best quarterback in the world the last half decade. I don't see it changing no time soon. But we have also seen Aaron Rodgers beat Pat Mahomes, who had better numbers a couple years ago. Just 2 years ago now, Aaron Rodgers last won the MVP. I think Pat Mahomes should have won it. Pat Mahomes sat the last game of the season. Aaron Rodgers played and did just enough to beat Pat Mahomes in that MVP race. I think this year could be maybe not similar as far as Pat sitting and Rodgers winning it because of that reason, but not because of that reason, but that being the case. But I just think storyline fits Rodgers again this year. Rodgers had a tough year last year, but the last 2 years prior, he was the GOAT. He was considered some people's GOAT. So it's like, okay, which Rodgers are you going to get? Was last year just an outlier year, or was that what it is? Or is that what it is now from Aaron Rodgers? So we'll have to wait and see there, honestly. But for me, I will say Rodgers win it. If not, it's going to be Pat Mahomes probably. Number two, Offensive Player of the Year. I'm going to give it to Rodgers' teammate Garrett Wilson. I think his new, younger version of Davante Adams is going to be a stud. I believe in Wilson. Everything I've seen from him first year and also in training camp and preseason this year, he looks the part, man. He definitely does. I didn't think he would carry over this well to the NFL from Ohio State. I really didn't think so, but he looks amazing. He's about to, I think, really his star is about to explode in my opinion. I think with Aaron Rodgers these next 1 to 2 years, I think Wilson will elevate his game to meeting Rodgers standards. So I'm gonna give it to Garrett Wilson. If not Wilson, I'm gonna probably go with Christian McCaffrey. Um, Trade for last year from the Panthers to the Niners. And to me, I think they're gonna rely on him a little bit more than they even did last year. Brock Purdy probably won't have the same year he had last year. So I do believe McCaffrey will be targeted just as much as he did last year and even more once he was traded to the Niners. So I think the production should be there. But I think the Niners, for the Niners to win this award, or for him to win this award for the Niners, to me, that's not a good sign. I would rather have him not win the award, but them go to this title, them go to the Super Bowl by keeping him healthy, by giving him rest. and that's why you have all those backup running backs, to really spare him the time. You don't want to wear down Christian McCaffrey if he's your guy, if he's a go-to guy, and he's also been injury prone, same as Saquon the last couple years. You don't want to bang him up. He's getting older, even more wear and tear. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to give him too much workload. So for me, if he wins it, that's not a good sign for the Niners season. If he doesn't, that's a better sign for me personally, But as long as he's in the running while still getting proper, rotation with other running backs, then that's fine. That to me is better than actually winning the actual award. But that's my take on it there. And usually, Offensive Player of the Year is normally won by a non-quarterback. So that's why a bunch of quarterbacks could be pretty good. Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, stuff like that. But I really think it's more of a non-quarterback award. So that's why I have it there. Defensive Player of the Year, down to two people, same as the other awards. And I'm kind of struggling. So to be honest, I want to go Myles Garrett so bad because I have not my Brown, excuse me, I'm a Falcons fan, but I had the Browns in the Super Bowl. In my prediction video released late last week, I'll link it right here. I have the Browns versus the Seahawks. I know it sounds crazy. I know it doesn't sound realistic, but that's my personal opinion. But I'm gonna give it to Michael Parsons. I think Michael Parsons edges out Myles Garrett. Michael Parsons going on year three. First 2 years he was a stud, and now being, I guess, from everything I've been hearing and seeing since camp months ago, that he's going to be a pure pass rusher now. No more linebacking play, unless I guess a case of emergency or something. He's going to be purely a pass rusher, purely trying to stop the runs, trying to stop the pass, forget about linebacking stuff. I love it. He's a monster. He's the monster. He goes all out, dang near every play. That Cowboys defense should be good around him. So and if you can get anything from Dexter Lawrence on the opposite side, and him stay healthy for most of the season, yeah. And also Mazi Smith, him being nose tackle slash defensive tackle, if he can give you some run stopping ability also, and on passing downs you give Parsons free reign, ooh wee, ooh wee. it's gonna it's gonna be a problem. You also have names in there like Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt, but I really am torn between Parsons and Myles Garrett. But I do think Michael Parsons does win it. If not, like I said, my second option is Myles Garrett. I think it's time. He's been around for long enough now. He's been close to getting the award. I think a top three finisher last year, maybe, if not mistaken. But I think it's time for him to get it this year, But I think Parsons does stand in his way, honestly, in my personal opinion. Next up, Offensive Rookie of the Year, two options again, and these are two guys I've been praising since pre-draft, and that's one, my Falcons running back, Bijan Robinson. He's a super stud, and number two option is my favorite player from last year's draft offensively, and I've been saying this since pre-draft, Jahmyr Gibbs from the Lions. I'm a Jahmyr Gibbs fan. Uh, I really love we got Bijan, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs could be, if not the better player, just a better stat. It's not stat pattern in a bad way, but I think the better numbers guy. I think Bijan gonna give you crazy numbers too, but he got to work for it. Every down back, running, catching, all that stuff. Gibbs gonna to me personally, he won't be a lead back this year. You have to split him with Montgomery, but I think Gibbs can give you 8+ touchdowns, 10+ touchdowns, similar to what McKinnon for the Chiefs did last year. Just weird, dynamic plays, game breaking speed, and just creative plays in certain moments can give him the opening to score a lot of touchdowns. So I have him going for a lot of touchdowns. That being Jahmyr Gibbs, um, you know, 8+, 7+, and it's a whole lot, for someone who's not starting. And I think he could have kind of like a Jared McKinnon year, like he did last year for the Chiefs. I've got how many touchdowns he scored, but I know it was in the double digits. And the Lions aren't new to that either. The running back they had last year now with the Saints, Jamal Williams, had a bunch of touchdowns, and he wasn't their lead back the whole time. He shared time with Swift, so uh, that's something that they could definitely possibly just do again. And I could easily see Gibbs getting 10 plus touchdowns. But I'm gonna go with my guy Bijan Robinson first. He's gonna be a workhorse. He's gonna be every down back for the most part, and I think the voters will respect that more than what Jahmyr Gibbs' numbers might look, even if he has more touchdowns but less yardage, which probably should be the case in my personal opinion. But I could be wrong on Bijan. He could give you 10 plus touchdowns. Also, he's a effective runner, effective pass catcher with some nice speed on him. Also, not as fast as Gibbs, not as shifty as Gibbs either, but he can definitely get the job done. So I love both backs. I've been saying this since pre-draft, and I think both those guys will probably finish one or two in this year's Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Um, Next, Defensive Rookie of the Year award. I really only have one player, and that's Jalen Carter. A talent like that goes to the Eagles with the team already built like that is insane. So not much to be said here. I think he pans out. I think he's a monster, and he's definitely gonna, uh, be a monster beside Jordan Davis, beside Fletcher Cox, and all those other guys on that line. Josh Sweat. So yeah, I have him and solely him. I don't know who else will probably be there. There's a bunch of guys. I like. If I had to name one, I guess Brian Branch from the Lions. He's my favorite defensive player in last year's draft that just passed. I'm on record for saying that, and I love him going to the Lions. Could be a game breaker, could be a playmaker. Um, if not him, I guess Forbes from Commanders maybe. Yeah, I don't really know who else would probably get that. Will Anderson, I don't think he has a great year. I don't think so. For me personally, and I said that in the past also about Will Anderson. He's good, but is he great? I don't know. So I would say Jalen Carter in a landslide for this award personally, but I could be wrong. Comeback Player of the Year, easy. Damar Hamlin, no question. We can go ahead and skip this one. We know he went through last year. We know he made the roster. There's no way in the world Hamlin doesn't win this award. I don't care what no one else does. Calvin Ridley, Lamar Jackson, OBJ, John Mechie, Tua, they can't win it. So I think he's a shoe in for this award, no question about it. And Coach of the Year, it goes on brand with my MVP. It goes on brand with my Offensive Player of the Year award, and that's Robert Saleh from the Jets. Like I said, if the Jets can be a playoff team, if the Jets can give you 10 plus wins, there's no way in the world that they can't win this award and more. And I think, as I said, it's all about storyline, it's all about narrative. And you've been seeing the mainstream media push. If Rodgers and the Jets don't win, Salah could be out. So risk, and there's risk, there's reward. So if they do win, the players and the coach will reap the rewards. So that's why I said Aaron Rodgers MVP, Garrett Wilson Offensive Player of the Year, and I think Robert Saleh will have to be the coach if they do win. So I think that's what happens there. I think they will win. They will be a playoff team in my opinion, some way somehow with that super tough schedule. A secondary option, I have Mike Tomlin. I think the Steelers could be very good this year. I think they're a sneaky team to win their tough division. I like Mike Tomlin. He's from an area where I live at, born and raised at. So, a couple cities over, I met him in real life. Now in middle school, saw the ring in person. So he's a cool dude. Always has a bias towards him. He's from my area and all that stuff. So, and also he's a very great coach. For everything I've seen and heard, and he's a great coach. Most people love him, and I think a healthy T.J. Watt, healthy Alex Highsmith, healthy defense with Kenny Pickett going on year two, Kenny Pickens on year two, Deontay Johnson clearly, going to be fed the ball. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, O-line's decent. I think they will have a good team. I think they could win the division also. So For me, I'm going to say Mike Tomlin, my second alternative option behind Robert Saleh for Coach of the Year. But I just think the Jets overpower all the major awards. I think it's their year to not win at all, but I think they're going to be a major threat. So, yep, that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.